I, 34 male, have been married to my wife, 31, for 3 years and have dated for a year before that. We have a toddler and she's pregnant with our second. Everything about our lives is absolutely perfect. She's the love of my life, but today I found something that is really messing with me. My wife and I worked together for the same large company. We were nothing but acquaintances for the longest time. She was that pretty girl at work who seemed a bit stuck up. We hardly ever talked. I didn't even think she knew my name. We were in the same office dodgeball league for a summer, but that was it. I had another girlfriend when I was 28. We met online. She was great, but 5 months into the relationship, a friend sent me screenshots of an online dating profile with her name and pictures. I confronted her and she vehemently denied it all, but the evidence was right there and I couldn't trust her anymore, so we broke up. A few months later, I started dating my wife after we'd met online. We'd never even had a full conversation before matching with each other online, but suddenly there was this spark and the rest was history. We moved pretty fast, we both wanted to settle down and have a family. She's a wonderful mother to our kids and the love of my life. But recently I found out that she'd sabotaged my relationship with my ex all those years ago by following my private Instagram with a fake account. She saw photos of me and my ex, stalked her account, and took pictures from her personal Instagram to upload to a dating app. And the rest was history. I found out after she got a new iPhone for her birthday, and she gave her old phone to me to erase and sell online. One of her burner IG accounts was the same profile that had followed me right around the time of my breakup. She's still following me and my ex with that account. She probably forgot to unfollow. It was really freaking weird and I confronted her. She confessed to everything but blew it off like, "Oh, well, I had such a big crush on you, I did what I had to do, and it worked out, didn't it?" I admit how she blew it off was so strange to me. I told her I don't know who she is anymore. She got upset at me and said, "So you value a 5-month relationship over your wife?" and said that we were meant to be. I got really upset and called her crazy, which led to her crying in our room and refusing to come out. I don't know what to think. My friend is telling me to just let it go, that if anything, it's a cute story to tell the grandkids one day. But it just creeps me out how she'd always given me the cold shoulder before we started dating. But all that time, she was obsessed with me to the point of sabotaging my relationship. To my knowledge, she's never done anything else dishonest or sneaky, so this is just wildly out of character for her. I don't know how to word it. I guess it's nothing. Maybe my friend is right. Was I too hard on her? Should I just let it go? Am I the idiot for getting mad at my wife? LOL, everything about our lives is perfect. This girl has been playing chess while you're playing checkers. She saw what she wanted and has no ethical or moral issues getting it. One day you will find the curtain and then look behind it to see what's happening. LMAO, cute story to tell the grandkids. Not the idiot, but I wouldn't want to be you, buddy. This is one of those, if she did this, then what else has she done? Or at the very least, what will she do in the future? If she can do all that just to get together with you, then who knows what she'll do to keep you or hurt you if things go wrong. The only worse thing than the act is the nonchalant response. She didn't get upset or embarrassed, but she did the old victim blame reversal. That's what's concerning here. Those morals and ethics, rather lack of, will come into play when she has enough of the relationship, or he wants to get out of this manipulation. It's going to be rough, and it's going to be against OP. Your wife is nuts. I don't know if she's a psychopath, a sociopath, a malignant narcissist or what, but I guarantee whatever she has can be found on the list of severe disorders. Best of luck with the rest of your life. If you ever want a divorce, try to find a way to make her think it was her idea, because otherwise you're going to have a rough time of it. Oh, they have kids, and she will gaslight the kids either way in her favor. OP, she's the kind of person who would frame you for something awful and ruin your life just to win custody of your children. If nothing else, if I were in your shoes, if you have the means, I'd reach out to your ex and apologize. The more I think about it, the more creeped out I am when you consider you had never even spoken to her when she did this. That's some horrifying behavior. My 28 male wife, 28, and I were married a while ago. Both of us are of Indian descent, but we were born and brought up in the USA. It was a love marriage, although she had to ask for their approval. My in-laws pulled off a joke that could have ruined my career. I worked for the government as an attorney. They thought it would be funny to tell a few of my neighbours that if they require anything from me, all they must do is offer me money as I take bribes. Some of them even asked me about it to actually offer me bribes, and I was floored. I had to refute that completely and accost them. They said they were joking, but I said that I didn't care if it was a joke and that I didn't want anything to do with the family anymore except for my wife. My sister-in-law, 29, even defended them. That was some time ago. I haven't talked to them ever since, and now my wife has told me that they're coming over to make an announcement for sister-in-law's wedding and to invite us. I told them I didn't want them at my house, but they said they'd already left. They came over in the evening and invited us formally. I told them I would not be attending and asked them to leave my house. They accused me of disrespecting them and said, "It's been a year and it's not good for you to hold a grudge for so long." However, I had nothing of it, and in the end they had to leave the house. My wife understands why I did that, although she said that it was uncalled for and that she wants to attend her sister's wedding. She doesn't want to leave without me. Am I the idiot? Ha ha! I laughed so hard at that funny joke. This was not a joke. Not even a little. They had it out for you, and that's that. Do not for a second believe that this was not malicious in any way. Stay away because their jokes could get worse. What even is that? And you are not the idiot. Having boundaries is not disrespect. Your wife is free to go to the wedding, right? She just doesn't want to go without you. Pathetic, really. Everyone is saying that they don't understand how you could lose your job. Stay in your lane unless you have the same job. You won't even know the ins and outs of it. Bribery is a case for dismissal from the government, and investigations only hurt the person even if cleared. Imagine being investigated for something you didn't do. It's horrible. She doesn't want to go alone, so the family doesn't look bad. It's all about image. Can you imagine if the new in-laws found out about their behaviour? It could cause them to back out of the wedding. Heck, these people are lucky you didn't sue them for defamation. Their funny little joke could have cost you your career. So I, a teen male, have two dads. I'm also the oldest of three, two sisters, a young teen and a tween. Our Aunt Jay was an egg donor so our parents could have us. We know she's biologically our mother. We also know a gestational carrier delivered us. But for me, I don't have a mom or consider my aunt or the woman who gave birth to me my mom or mother. My aunt met her husband just after my youngest sister was born. She was honest with him about what she'd done for my parents. He was okay enough with it, but now they have children together, and I believe he sees me as a good candidate for babysitting. But he doesn't approach it like that. Instead, he keeps saying them, him and Aunt Jay, are just as much my parents as my parents are. He said their kids are my siblings, and all of us should be spending time together, including my sisters. It became a fight between my dad's and my aunt's husband. Aunt Jay told her husband my sisters and I are not her kids at all. He repeatedly argued that we are, and all this donation crap is wrong and is unnatural and messes up kids and families. He said my dad is my uncle, not my dad, and we should all acknowledge this. He got so tense that Aunt Jay apologized for what he was saying and said she would deal with him. They started marriage counseling, but things got worse at Thanksgiving when he apologized but then tried to talk me into spending time with my siblings and being around their house more. I told him I spend loads of time with my siblings and our family always does fun stuff together. He was like, you know, that's not what I mean and stuff. I argued that he couldn't change our relationship no matter how he felt about my aunt being an egg donor. He told me I could deny it all I wanted, but Aunt Jay is my mom and I should be treating her as such. He also told me that I shouldn't be happy that I was torn away from my mom to be raised by someone who was not my real parent at all, that I was made with the intention of taking me from my mom. I lost it and told him to go screw himself and leave me alone because he had no damn say over me all my life. My dad's came in and Aunt Jay was yelling at her husband for cornering me. My family left. Aunt Jay apologized for her husband again, but he told me I was being insulting and cursing at him was the most disrespectful thing I could have done. My grandparents said afterwards that I could have handled myself better in the instance too, which is making me question stuff. Am I the idiot? It sounds like your uncle may be phobic or highly traditional. Your aunt may be your bio-mother, but she isn't your mum. He should respect the situation, as it's clear to you, your dad's, and your aunt. Could you handle it better? Maybe. His persistence backed you into a corner, so you lashed out. Overall, not the idiot. All the adults need to chill about the handling yourself better shtick. You're just a teen and still have lots of learning and maturing to do. They're expecting you to behave like an adult. Ridiculous. How about they be concerned about a grown man cornering a kid and trying to bully said kid under their watch? It might be time to avoid Aunt Jay's husband from now on, stop attending any event that he's around, or make sure your grandparents sit on his butt to watch him behave. Your uncle had it coming for a very long time. He has no rights or authority, moral, emotional, or legal over you. How bloody dare he? Oh, and he doesn't want you to spend more time with siblings. He wants you to be a free babysitter for his child for him. I'm older. Granddad is wrong. You got cornered by a completely out-of-line adult. Multiple times. That whole respect to your elders, it's BS. Respect is earned. My fiancé, 24 male, and I, 19 female, had our first baby last week. He was born healthy, but giving birth was very traumatic and hard on me mentally and physically. I had an emergency C-section after being in labour for 3 days. I still feel incredibly foggy and out of touch with reality. I only wanted my fiancé's parents present to meet the baby in the hospital. The rest were welcome to FaceTime us, but they would have to wait to see our son after we'd gone home and had time to adjust to having a newborn. I'm not close with my family because I left home at 18 to escape their abuse. Almost none of them are allowed contact with my child because of the way they treated me and my siblings. My fiancé's family is a very close-knit group, and they've been very kind and welcoming to me up until now. I wouldn't be marrying in if they weren't. The only one I've had issues with is my fiancé's brother, 30, who has autism. He makes a lot of offhand comments and jabs that get passed off as dark humour. When my in-laws arrived, they brought my fiancé's older brother, who they care for and lives with them. He's diagnosed with autism, but does not have any severe disabilities. I wasn't happy they brought him against my wishes, but I didn't say anything after everything I'd gone through. My fiancé's brother was adamant about holding our son. He was loud, had an attitude, and smelled terrible. His clothes were dirty, and it was like he hadn't showered in weeks. Again, I didn't comment on his hygiene, but I tried to preface that I didn't want anyone except my in-laws holding the baby right now. I was as kind as possible. My in-laws told me that he didn't mean any harm and that he could wash his hands. I told them no again, and my fiancé backed me up when they didn't calm down. My father-in-law took his son home, and my mother-in-law stayed and apologized. Still, my fiancé's brother is apparently deeply hurt and texted my fiancé to tell him not to marry me because I'm driving them apart and a witch who wants to keep him from his nephew. I'd like to preface that my fiancé confirmed that his brother was not always this limited and was fairly normal until high school, when he seemed to start to play up his diagnosis for sympathy. He hasn't worked a day and lives off of his parents. He doesn't shower or even bother to apply deodorant before leaving the house. He would live in the same clothes for months without his mom doing his laundry. I have no ill will for people with autism or disabilities. My youngest brother had Down syndrome, and I cared for him as an identified child. My issue is solely with my brother-in-law. My fiancé, 24 male, and I, 19 female. Oh dear God, OP, you got out of an abusive family at 18 and gave birth at 19. How long were you and your partner together before he got you pregnant? Your future in-laws are supposed to care for autistic future brother-in-law, but you're saying his hygiene is terrible and are trying to guilt-trip you to let him do whatever he wants with your child, ignoring your wishes. To me, it sounds like you jumped from an abusive family to a family that is not what you probably expected. You're still young, too young, and need a lot of therapy. I think you and your child deserve better, but you do you. Yeah, the 24-year-old man impregnating a vulnerable, just barely adult is concerning. At 24, I couldn't socialize with or relate to 19-year-olds. I couldn't fathom having a relationship and child with one. It's a huge maturity gap, and OP's situation makes it more worrying. Unfortunately, now she's tied to him because she's had his child, and I doubt she ever understands how creepy it is that a man is going after someone her age with problems. It's sad to think OP has never really had a chance to live her own life and is now a mom at 19. So much growing and maturing happens in your late teens and early 20s. OP, please do not have more children. You're already so trapped with your fiancé and need to think about your future. You just escaped an abusive family and now you're stuck with another one, and the baby makes it impossible to ever truly free yourself. As for your question, you are not the idiot. His autism is virtually irrelevant here. His hygiene would be inappropriate to hold a newborn with, even if he weren't on the spectrum. Tell your in-laws that if their son wants to hold your baby, he needs to be freshly showered and wearing clean clothes. I, 25 female, am an ex-Mormon, and my boyfriend, 28, and I live together. We were visiting my family for Thanksgiving. They're not happy with me leaving the church nor living with my boyfriend outside of marriage, but they begrudgingly accepted it, and we have agreed to disagree. We did attend church with them while staying in their town, out of respect. In their ward, some of the queen bees, shall we say, and their husbands are swingers, but are quick to point out the sins of others. But we, of course, are expected to smile and turn the other cheek. When I was at church, some of these women were being very judgmental and lecturing me for living with my boyfriend while not married. My mother was giving me the look, basically begging me to ignore it and not say anything, but I just about had enough and loudly asked, "So how was your last swingers party?" The whole room just went silent and gasped. My boyfriend and I left for our hotel. We stayed at a hotel because if we stayed in their house, she'd want us to sleep in separate rooms, and left town the following day. My mother won't speak to me. My dad wants me to apologize for causing a scene and embarrassing my mother. He agrees that they are hypocrites, but that I need to learn to pick my battles, and this caused more issues than it was worth, because now these women are being catty and excluding my mother. She was friends with some of them. Am I the idiot? Don't throw stones when you live in a glass house. You are not the idiot. Yes, Mom and Dad were embarrassed, but if they thought this would have happened, and should have, they would have discouraged you from attending. Did they try? Unloading on a hypocrite who overstepped is never wrong. They earned every last bit of it. Okay, so a large part of me is very, yes, that is glorious, and I would stand by it, except you aren't the one who has to go back and be around those people. Your parents do. You threw a grenade on your way out, and your mom is the one who has to attempt to clean it up if she wants her social circle to return to some sense of normalcy. So everyone's the idiot here, the snarky hypocrites for sure, and you for blowing up your mom's social circle. I disagree. If you don't want your kid to throw a grenade into your social circle, don't let your social circle be crappy to your kid. Mom should have better friends. Mom and Dad probably participate, that's why they're her friends. Mom and Dad should just stop and let the daughter live her own life. Your religion doesn't give you the right to force other people to live by your beliefs.